That leads us to like our last official lightning round here. Okay, we get down to the last two questions. They're the same questions that we ask everybody at the end of the Sledder Cast podcast. Okay, and the first question is, you've got a brand new, in your guys' case, you're running snow bikes.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got a brand new one. Okay, you're just getting ready to set things up on it. What are the first three must-have mods you are making to that machine? And we've talked about this before, and we've had a couple. We've had JT on. There's some things that are like not just luxury, but they're kind of like must-haves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
On a snow bike kit. But yeah, what are those three? The first three. We'll start with Kody.
So for me, I'm starting with I don't know, especially the way I like to ride. I'm a big jumper. I want to have good suspension. So whether you're running a trio, a third shock, or having a setup, a set built forks or stiffening the front end,
Like a custom build,
built like that. That's kind of that direction that I think is super important. I mean, all these companies they'll claim, oh, we're lighter on the front end. You don't need it. And I guess for the majority, there's a lot of people. Yeah, you might not, but I'll tell you what, it's a lot better when you do have better suspension set up on the front end. It's just a better feeling. You eliminate that diving factor. I mean, these forks weren't built for skis and pressure. They're built for a wheel, right? It's just different. So
and just to make sure everyone's clear, we're talking. You guys are all on the Timber Sled Riot 3 premium kits.
But this would be.
But this is a
every
bike.
snow bike.
This would be every snow bike.
Yeah, because they're all front end heavy, and the way there's not as much surface area. You take a sled, it's got its hull, it's got the two skis, and it's just the way that's engineered and built. It's not going to be diving like you would see a snow bike do, and so that dive is mitigated by. Like Kody said,
suspension.
Added suspension.
And like there's a lot of other companies. Oh, we're lighter on the front end, and they may be right, but at the end of the day, the guys that you see jumping or you see doing stuff on these bikes, they're doing something to their suspension.
Yeah,
and that to me is like one of the biggest game changers of just a feel of how that bike feels and that playfulness that you get in the comfortability.
So that's your first. That's number one. That's number one.
I'm going with number two is I'm going to go with the engine. So whether it's some kind of a engine cover, engine blanket, I'm kind of going to bundle this into a package. It's keeping the motor warm, right? So temperatures that comes with either an engine blanket, engine jacket, and a thermostat just to control those temperatures. Bikes run typically colder. So we're doing the opposite, right? On a sled, it's like, how do we cool this down? Yeah. We're the opposite. How do we get it up to those correct temperatures and stay there? Because when you're running super low temperatures, the bikes are overfueling. They're not running very well. So that figuring out that every bike's a little different. So it's always an ongoing thing, nonstop. And then the third, I'm going to go with. You have to set up your airbox. So there's some luxury, but this is an absolute must. I was thinking about this a lot. And setting up that airbox, I run a certain, airbox that's designed for snow biking.
It's like a pod,
it's
right?
A pod, a pod to eliminate snow
pod
buildup.
filter.
We've done pre-filters. You have to at least run a pre-filter. You don't want to stick with a stock airbox, with foam like you do in the summertime that you do just be sucking in moisture. So going that route and just setting it up, figuring out whatever direction you go, there's a ton of different options that you can go in that direction. But I think those are like, for me, three must-haves that will really make the bike perform very well in the snow.
Okay.
So mine, I don't disagree at all. I think that particularly I don't run that same pod filter, so it will work, but I see the benefits of that. I think that the first two would definitely be the suspension and keeping your temps up with a couple of different things, right? And there's more than one way to skin a cat there. But I think honorable mentions would be, for some safety reasons and just for also some fun reasons. I've really enjoyed having a good set of helmet lights. I don't particularly love riding a LED bar on affixed to the bike itself. That runs a little lower, and I think it makes sense to have the lights a little higher. So a couple companies that make some decent helmet lights are Oxbow and Task Racing. I've used both of those. They're both great. And just having that in your kit as a safety, in case you have to I've had a couple times where I've been out past dark, we're doing a repair, and we would absolutely just be stuck on the mountain because our bikes, a lot of them don't come with a headlight. And when they do, they're oftentimes quite underpowered. And then there's also this element of I turn left with the handlebars. I'm not seeing what's, up ahead. I'm turning, where I'm going. So it's actually better to have it on your helmet, on the person, right? So that's like a great honorable mention. So that's like a great honorable mention, I would say. And then another honorable mention is, and this is kind of how it is in our group, is like when somebody finds something that like alleviates a common problem we're having, or like that just is the answer, right? So I believe I was one of the first to get this stand. It was a bike stand. We convert our bikes often back from summer to winter modes, and using the stand eliminated a lot of the issues we were having to try to get this heavy kit on, and trying to needing help with it, and
you can do it by yourself.
So you can do it by yourself, and so this thing was great. It's called the Tusk. I think Tusk makes it, and it was this bike stand that you just jack up. It can even go up to like chest height, and so that was like, I think more than me saying, well, those are top things. Like, what is helpful to I think the audience is recognizing. Well, use that group to find who's using what to solve these problems, and and where are you getting the deal at, or whatever. That's been epic. Like that's super helpful in our group, and in this sport that's still, I would say, still emerging. Snow biking is
so new.
There is no company that manufactures a full snow bike. That's what's interesting. And even those that are trying to, it's just not there yet. So you need to have a bit of mechanicking knowledge and friends to say, this is what I've done, this is what benefit it's gotten. So those would be some things that I'd say are top.
Cool.
Yeah. The unique thing about snow bikes, like other than a snowmobile, is like these aren't the snowmobile's made for the snow, right? There's a lot of things that you can do to these snow bikes to make them more comfortable and set up and ride premium, right? Heated handlebars,
seat concept.
The seats are a huge difference. Having the right handguards make a big difference. Your storage, your gas cans,
oversized pegs,
oversized foot pegs. There's a lot of little knick-knack things that are out there. And it's when they build a new bike, it's people figuring it out. I was on a brand new 23 YZ last year that had just come out. We were figuring it out. Like, hey, what are we? Had some of the first snow bikes that we know of. There was a handful of them out there, and we're all calling each other, just saying, hey, what are you doing for this? What are you doing for that? Trying to figure out what works best. And that's it's actually kind of fun with that, of just figuring out, hey, what is working better? What are you having issues with? What are easy fixes? Now, for the most part,
that is part of the sport.
It really
is the mechanicking side and figuring out the ways to enhance a machine that was never engineered to do this.
And I think anymore we've got it pretty figured out, right? There's so many different companies that are out there that are really providing a lot of the product and just covering it. I mean, C3 does a really good job, with a lot of their components of what they do. You can literally go to them and they pretty much have, for the most part, everything that we talked about, right?
Yeah.
there's just companies out there that are doing that, and there's a lot of knowledge out there. So it's cool. People are awesome in all the forums. You can ask a question.
Yeah,
I've noticed that.
Wraps actually they add. I've always been impressed with this. You guys, it adds like a couple horsepower to the bikes.
Yes.
It's weird,
that's true.
It's like the ink that kind of gets into the.
Yeah, the ink. We use a special ink.
It's something with the fueling. Yeah.
Love it.
Hold on a second. We're doing a show right now.
A cameo right here.
We're doing a show. Say hi. Okay. Can you go sit over there? We're almost done. So go sit over there for a second, and Daddy will buy you a pony.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think she can hear you.
Snowmobile?
Maybe she can hear you.
I know. I will wash it. Can you sit down for a second? Sorry, guys.
So last question on the lightning round, okay, is our fun little secret question. Okay, and typically we ask that question like, so, hey, what is something that the industry, the community, the social sphere doesn't know about you?
Mm-hmm.
I think we're flipping it with you guys because you guys know each other so well.
Oh.
What is Kody? Like, you tell us something that's about Garrett that we don't know, and Garrett, you tell us something about Kody that
sounds like it could get us in trouble.
Like, yeah, we'll have to. I mean, no, keep it clean, as clean as we can here. But let's have some fun. Like, what do you think is out there that
there's some really good things.
The darkest secrets.
No, so I don't know if you've ever just hopped on. If you haven't, or anybody out there that hasn't, like, just do a deep dive into jiu-jitsu memes and just kind of see what they say about people that do jiu-jitsu. Yeah, so recently Garrett has taken a dive into learning jiu-jitsu.
It's karate, glorified karate.
Yeah, so he's getting older, wanted to get rid of his man boobs and like that dad bod. He's like, I need to do something.
True.
And so
it's true.
Well, no, I think it's actually that, or it's like, I want to protect myself and my family.
Yeah.
And with that voice, like, you take a roundhouse kick to the face with this bad boys. So no, he's a jiu-jitsu master, and if you
and we've got to find some memes.
And you have to find the memes, because if you see it, it's like they're always on their backs, grabbing a bunch of guys and like wanting to hug and get all close, and they talk about it all the time.
Yeah,
can't deny it.
Sounds about right.
There's there's a little suspect in the jiu-jitsu world. So that's something
that's a dark secret.
That is worthy to know about.
Yeah, because he's never posted about that online, so we would have no idea.
No, I'm a closet karate kid.
Okay,
so
for sure.
He gets all the memes like now.
Yeah,
our group is
right
always sending him all these memes. It's
okay.
There's some really funny ones out there.
Okay.
Well, let me tell you about Kody.
Okay, what do we got for Kody Kirkland here?
So Kody Kirkland, this background of being, was a pro ball player for several years, and also just, a burly man, muscular, well built, that does all these recreational sports now, like amazing skier, snow bikes like crazy, doing all these tricks. Well, what you didn't know about Kody Kirkland, so that sometimes some weekends we're like, hey, what are we gonna go do? Are we gonna go do some rad sport? And Kody'd be like, no, guys, this weekend I'm out, and he wouldn't really divulge why. And we would find out just through the grapevine, like Kody was going off and doing these wine tastings with his wife,
spending time with my wife. Who can blame me for that?
Yeah, what's wrong with
this guy's going and doing wine tasting and trying to hide it from us.
Yeah,
why would he hide? So he's a little bit of a Ken doll. As much as he's a manly man, he's definitely.
We're gonna call you, instead of Kody, we're gonna call you Kenny.
Kenny.
Anyways,
nickname.
I've heard worse.
Okay. Nice. Okay, so we'll go Kenny Kirkland right here. So, okay, there you have it. There's the lightning round, guys.